Gotta tell you about the worst stuck of my life. Hey, I'm Josh. You're watching Days of Pain and Victory. This is another episode of bench racing. So, remember my buddy Alex? Him and I went on a wheeling trip back in 2009 to the Naches Wagon Trail. This trip turned into quite the adventure. The Naches Wagon Trail is incredible. It's tight, windy, goes through the trees, has some steep inclines. It's got some really cool off-camber section. It was used heavily by early settlers in the 1800s, trying to get across the Cascades. They used this trail with their wagons. So Alex and I, we were just planning on a day trip, and this particular trail is well suited for a day trip because it's not too long, but it's not too short, and it's relatively easy in comparison to the other trails in the area. Like, we saw a stock Liberty do it. With the right person behind the wheel, it's not that hard. With it being a day trip, we only packed the essentials for a day trip. Case of Mountain Dew, some Doritos, a couple PB&Js, stuff any 22, 23-year-old needs. We traversed this trail with no issues all day, having a ton of fun. Every once in a while we'd do a little three-wheel action. And we saw groups of 4x4s all day long. We went alone, because we're super smart and indestructible. So, we just had my ZJ. But we saw lots and lots of other 4x4s on the trail all day long. As we were getting to the latter half of the trail, it was kind of getting into the afternoon, we came across this mud hole. It basically looked like a giant crater in the earth. Steep sides, and the bottom was just full of this thick, goopy mud. So I like mud. Mud is fun. But I also like to be, smart and sleep in my own bed. There are 4 little words that have gotten me into trouble more times than I like to admit. Those words are, dude, you got this. And that's when it happened. Alex, with confidence, said, dude, you got this. And so, without any further hesitation, I mashed on that gas pedal. Down in the mud hole we went, and it just sunk. You just felt the Jeep just come to a complete halt. You could actually feel the Jeep sinking to what I thought would be its death. And what's worse, we didn't see a soul for the next 14 hours. Of course, my winch was broke, so we didn't have that. Our bag of Doritos had about 4 chips left. We only had about 2 cans of these left, and 1 pair of clothes. So we used the high lift to, try to jack up the Jeep and shove branches and rocks or whatever to get under the tires. We weren't close enough to any trees to use the come along to try to pull it out. So we just had to keep jacking it, put stuff under the tires, and go for it. And after about 6 hours of trying, I think it ended up being about, between 10 and 11 o'clock, finally just called it quits. And I wrapped up in a tarp in the back seat. Alex leaned the front seat back and slept, and we just fired the Jeep up every couple hours when we got cold. So then the next day, around 9 in the morning, finally some dude on a dirt bike drove by, and we heard it coming, so we hopped out of the Jeep, and he called us idiots, rightly so, and then he also told us where the main road was. So Alex and I hiked out, it was maybe a couple miles, and convinced another little white ZJ to come give us a tug out. It was actually pretty easy for them to pull us out, which was embarrassing. It just goes to show you, you shouldn't go wheeling alone. If we would have had one other vehicle, probably didn't even matter what kind of vehicle it was, we would have gotten out. We would have slept in beds that night. We would have maybe had a nice meal instead of our last 4 Doritos. So there's 3 lessons I learned that day. Number 1, don't go wheeling alone. So I might not have completely learned that lesson because every once in a while I still go out alone. The itch to go wheel is bigger than the itch to be safe. So, but still, don't go wheeling alone. Number 2, always prepare to be out longer than you expect. It would have been good for us to have, an extra set of clothes and more food than just a couple PB&Js and our Doritos. And number 3, those words, dude, you got this, always preface a good time. So I want to hear what your worst stuck is. Leave a comment below. Tell your story. Anyway, stay safe. Go wheeling when you can. Go turn some wrenches. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe.